Unfortunately, some sad news today for this battle. Going into camp, we thought it was going to be Nick Brooks versus Brandon Baker. Then all of a sudden last week, they said, no, it's actually Cojoe versus Brandon Baker. And Andre Cojoe, unfortunately, Saturday did have some type of season-ending knee injury. So we'll see what happens. Apparently, though, Nick Brooks is now getting first-team reps at the right tackle position along with Brandon Baker. So, I'm more and more concerned about this position. At the beginning of this offseason, I said left guard. I'm really not concerned because I've heard very little, which to me is good. That means Umlazulu has won that battle. There's really not much of a discussion there. But to me, Andre Cojoe getting hurt and then immediately Nick Brooks is getting first-team reps and Brandon Baker, no one has said, hey, this basically solidifies the job. That to me has shown Brandon Baker has not, sealed this thing down, which is not a good sign for me at least.
Yeah, and that is concerning, and I think it's as somebody who has been vocally a Brandon Baker supporter, it's not great because again, when you hear the guy he's competing goes down, it should be okay. That solidifies him as your number one guy, and so Texas ultimately is still looking for its best starting five. Right, normally going into a season, you're trying to find your top 8, top 7, at worst, and Texas is still shooting for 5 at this point, which is not great to hear. I think Brandon Baker will be fine. I think Brandon Baker or Nick Brooks will likely be fine in this spot. But losing Cojoe is a guy who, again, Texas now needs to find another swing player, another guy who can play multiple spots. Is it I can't even think of who it is, right? We mentioned
Jaden Chapman would be the guy.
Jaden Chapman, I guess. Yeah, but Jaden, I feel like Jaden Chapman probably is still a year in the incubator. It needs to be a year longer in the incubator before he's called upon. It's that to me. I've been not concerned about the offensive line, much like you, but I think now we're getting to a point where I'm like, that right tackle position is something to be said. I'm just going to say it. Texas also went to a college football playoff and was a couple of plays away from a national championship with a question at right tackle, right? Cam Williams got drafted, but Cam Williams also was a liability in a lot of spots. So that's something to keep in your back pocket, is that if the rest of the line is good enough, it's something that you can maybe, cover up or kind of kick some dirt over in some spots. So I'm still worried, but I ultimately think Kyle Flood is a good enough coach to get it figured out. Again, week 2 of camp, maybe some clicks in Brandon Baker. Maybe, I don't know if it's a Nate Kibble situation. I just don't know who the guy is right after that. It's concerning.
No, for sure. Yeah, it would have been, if Cojoe doesn't hurt, they battle. Whoever loses that is probably your swing left to right tackle. And then Connor Robertson, I said this last week, and he's been there a while. He's going to be your first guy off the bench if someone gets hurt from left guard to center. Like, he'll be your center, right guard, or left guard. So we were good with that position. But, yeah, the right tackle, is thin now. If he gets hurt, it's Nick Brooks. And there's really no – after that, let's not even talk about it. It'd be really bad if that happened, if he gets hurt. But, yeah, it's Nick Brooks. Jaden Chapman's going to be your swing guy. I think – if you have 2 guys get hurt on the offensive line, tackle and center, let's say, he'll swing between either right tackle, left tackle. He can play all over the offensive line other than center, really. And it sucks. Andre Cojoe has battled his ass off to get to this point to where we didn't even think he was really competing. We thought it was Brandon Baker and Nick Brooks, and he's right there competing, and unfortunately gets hurt. And I think there's a really good chance he would have won this job. Clearly Brandon Baker has not taken this bull by the horns. And yeah, it's going to be interesting, guys. I don't know what to expect from this right tackle, but you brought up a good point. Cameron Williams was not that great last year at the right tackle position in most games. Either made a really bad holding call in unopportune time, or he got a false start call at an unopportune time. And, I really wish he would have come back. We talked about this. It would have benefited everyone involved if Cam Williams came back, because he would have gotten higher up on the draft boards and Texas would have had a returning starter at the position. But it is what it is. I do expect Brandon Baker to win this job at the end of the day, but I'm not going to feel confident when we go into week 1 at the right tackle position playing Ohio State. I'm just not going to feel confident there.
No, I'm with you there. I got nothing else to add, right? I've said it already. I think this is going to be a defensive slugfest in week 1.
Yeah, and it kind of like the whole offseason up until about 2 weeks ago, I was like, man, I'm kind of worried about the left guard. I've heard nothing about Neto Umuzulu at left guard, which is perfect, which means he's not competing. He's won that job. He's going to be your left guard.
No news is good news.
Yeah, exactly. And then right tackle's just been question marks, injuries now. I have a feeling that's going to be the position we're going to be like, damn, that position has kind of haunted us this year. Which, listen, everyone on every team in the country is going to have one or two positions in the top 10 of college football that is going to be like, damn, that's a real weak spot. Unfortunately, I do think that's going to be the right tackle position for Texas this year.
I'm not. I've been there already. Yeah, I'm with you. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, that does it for the Texas fall camp battles on the offensive side of the ball. We'll hit on defensive side of the ball later. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below.